the Navy in 1984 and got out in 1989. My job was called cryptologic technician interpreting, and I studied Arabic for a year and learned how to speak Arabic, and that was my job as an Arabic linguist. Well, technically in the Navy, a boat is only a submarine, but I was on submarines, a couple of submarines, I was on a couple of destroyers, I was on a cruiser, and I was on a couple of aircraft carriers. Now, boot camp in the Navy, it's all a matter of perspective. When you're in it, it seems like really hard. 25, 30 years afterwards, still think it's really hard. A lot of push-ups, a lot of sit-ups, a lot of exercise, a lot of new experiences. So it could be tough. Things like the gas chamber. When you go through the gas chamber and make you talk, so you have to breathe in the gas. You come out and snot coming out of your nose, and your eyes are running and stuff. That part definitely sticks out in the memory. I'm sure there were lots of famous events that happened. Right about the same time I went in, when a lot of stuff was happening in Lebanon, there was a big civil war in Lebanon. So a lot of Navy ships would sit off the coast. They had battleships that would shoot these big shells that were the size of Volkswagens into Lebanon from like 20 miles offshore. I was involved in when we bombed Libya the first time, last year. There was a big thing in the news about Libya and Gaddafi. And we actually bombed Libya when I was in the Navy, and I was on a submarine near Libya. And then the other thing that was probably big that happened, at least that I was involved in, was we had our ships got bombed by the Soviet ships, which most people nowadays don't even remember what the Soviets were. But I was in the Black Sea on a ship when they took their ship and ran it into ours because we were in their territorial waters, even though we were there legally. So, those are some things that happened while I was in. I met your mother while we were in the Navy. Was when we were in language school in California, which is in Monterey. We met while we were there and started dating, and ultimately ended up getting married a couple of years later, after I came back after I was scheduled to go back to Greece. Because I lived in Greece for those 2 years. Met my best friend Manny from the Navy. We've been friends now for almost 25 plus years. We've known each other a long time. And I've made a lot of good friends in the Navy who I've kept in touch with and have known for a long, long time. Well, I guess it's a two-part question. I was stationed in California, then I was transferred to Texas, then I was transferred to Athens, Greece, and then from Athens I was transferred to Fort Meade, Maryland. But while I was in Athens, I got to go to a lot of different places because I would go out as a direct support personnel, as a linguist to these different ships and submarines. So I got to go to Italy and Spain and Tunisia, and I went to France, and I got to go to Yugoslavia. And I got to go a lot of different places that I probably never would have gotten to go to. I got to go to Egypt. That was a big thing. I got to see the pyramids and the Sphinx in Egypt when I was in the Navy, because the aircraft that I was on went into stuff. I got to see the Sphinx, and I got to ride a burro down from the pyramids down to the Sphinx. I'm trying to think, I got to go to Rome, I got to go to Naples, Italy, I got to go to Pompeii, went to Sicily, went to Sardinia. I got to see a lot of different things. That's why when you say places, it's where I was stationed is different than the things I got to see because I got to travel a lot. Yeah, I was temporarily on the Nimitz. I was assigned there when they were in the Mediterranean. The way it worked was when ships or different things came into the Mediterranean, you would get sent. They would all want a linguist on board or two, and so we went out. We would get assigned to different spots, and I got assigned to the Nimitz for 3 months. Well, my particular job was I was assigned in this area they call the Blue Tile area. That's where the commander of the carrier air wing, and he's an admiral, and the captain of the ship who basically runs the aircraft carrier. It was in their area where they work, so all of the tiles were blue, and that's the only place in the ship that they're that color. But my job was to basically help the ship, protect the ship using my language. Yeah, I mean, there were always things going on, but probably the thing that was most tragic was when I went through language school, one of my roommates, named Craig, was on a plane called the Whale. That's the nickname of it. It's really an EA-3B Sky Warrior. He and 6 other people were out on a mission, and when they came back at night, they couldn't land properly, and they ended up crashing after trying to land 5 times, and the aircraft carrier actually hit them after they slid off into the water, and all 7 people died. What did I do to relax? I would read books. They usually had some books on board, but I would try to bring books with me. I would buy some for them. So when I wasn't having to work, which was most of the time I had to work, but I would read books, and I would listen to the Eagles over and over and over again on my little red Sony Walkman. Sometimes I would just go outside, not on the submarines, but on the destroyers or the carriers. I would actually go out on the fantail, which is the back of the ship, and just kind of look out at the water and think about my wife back at home. Boats or submarines. So if you talk about on a submarine, the food's different depending on what you're on. If you're on a submarine, you eat family style. It's not much space, so the room that you go to eat at, you sit at tables where you can't get up and down to go get food or to go get anything. So you go in, you take a place to sit at, and the lower enlisted people get temporarily assigned to sort of the grunt duty, the bottom of the ladder responsibilities. So you sit there and let's say you run out of mashed potatoes, you just hold the bowl up and one of them will come and get it and put more in it. So food on a submarine is usually really good. Then, unless something happens, it doesn't happen, but really good. A smaller ship could be really good, like a destroyer or a cruiser, because there's fewer people for them to have to cook for. So the lines aren't as long. Like on a submarine, there's no line. On a smaller ship, what's what we call small boys, you really don't have much of a line, and you can go down and eat, and the food's decent. On an aircraft carrier, there's lots of different choices that have different places, different mess decks for you to go to. One might have mainly like hamburgers, they call them sliders. So you could go to the one area and have sliders where you can get a hamburger or a cheeseburger or a chicken sandwich or something. And those are, they're okay food. And then you have a lot of the same things over and over on the other parts of the mess deck where there's lots of different kinds of food, but it's same things over like chili macaroni, and, different kinds of stuff with rice. But the biggest thing on an aircraft carrier is you have to stand in line forever before you get to eat. If you think of the typical, if you were going to have an hour to go eat, you'll probably spend 45 to 50 minutes of it standing in line to get your food, and then have about 10 minutes to eat, and then you need to go back to work. So the lines can actually, an aircraft carrier can have 10, 13 decks, with all these different ladders and stuff to go up and down. And so even to find the end of the line, it takes you 5 or 10 minutes to walk from the line back to where the end of it was so you could get in line. It just takes a long time in the aircraft carrier. I saw a lot of people get seasick, but I never got seasick on any of the Navy ships I was on. I can remember one time when we were off of Tunisia, and we put a paper plate up with a string and a rock, and every time somebody threw up, we would mark where it was as we were turning back and forth. The ship's kind of going back and forth, and we were watching everybody get sick, and we would mark the line to see who would take the longest to get sick, and I never got sick. I recommend for other people to go into the Navy. I think going into the military is a good thing for a lot of people, especially because I grew up in a small town with limited opportunities to make a place in life. If your only choice is to work in a factory, although factory work is fine for some people, if your only choice is to do that, or to do something and you want to try something different and see the world, I think the Navy is a great place to start, and a great place to build a career, and a great place to meet other people.
Another tequila sunrise, staring slowly across the sky. Said goodbye.